Belarus, January 1942. The cold is not air anymore. It has weight, a slow, invisible hand pressing against your ribs every time you breathe. Before sunrise, the land is nothing but a sheet of pale iron, a sky without light, a forest without edges, a silence so thick it feels like something alive is listening. A German truck grinds through the frost, engine choking on frozen fuel. Inside, Soviet prisoners sit jammed shoulder to shoulder, their uniforms stiff, their boots cracked, their breath rising in tiny explosions of white that freeze on their eyelashes. One man doesn't move, not the way the others do. Ivan Zorin, 28, infantry sergeant. Captured near WWII 3 weeks earlier when his regiment was swallowed by blizzard and machine gun fire. His back is straight, his chin down, his eyes half closed. He breathes as if every exhale costs him something he can't afford to lose. A guard across from him narrows his eyes. "You alive?" he mutters in broken Russian. Ivan doesn't answer. He lifts his head the slightest bit, just enough for the guard to meet his eyes. It isn't defiance. It isn't fear. It isn't even anger. It's absence. A man with nothing left to lose and therefore nothing left to fear. The guard shivers and pulls back, though the wind hasn't touched him. Moments later, the truck stops at a gate covered in rime ice. Barbed wire sags under frozen weight. A wooden sign hangs crooked. Stalag 352. Holding zone. A German lieutenant steps forward, jaw clenched against the cold. His gaze drags across the prisoners until it lands on Ivan. "You won't last long here," he says. Ivan blinks slowly. Snow gathers on his lashes. His voice is barely audible. "I don't need long. Just longer than you." The lieutenant's expression twitches. He turns away first. The gates slam shut, the sound echoing through the trees like a hammer hitting bone. Inside the barrack, the air is colder than outside. Frost lines the walls in uneven patches, cracked and shimmering. The floor is ice. Not metaphorical, real ice. Prisoners sleep on it anyway. One man collapses the second he enters. His breath fogs once, then stops. By dawn, his body is stiff, skin turning white where it touches the frozen ground. Guards come with hooks, long metal rods designed to drag bodies without bending down. They do it casually, stepping over limbs as if navigating fallen branches. Most prisoners look away. Ivan watches the guards instead. Watches how they breathe, how one of them hides his left hand in his coat because it has started to turn gray, how another blinks too fast, like a man trying not to panic. Fear has a shape. Here in the cold, it has color too. Later, food arrives, a frozen shard of bread and a dipper of soup so thin it might as well be warm water. Men fight, teeth bared, elbows swinging weakly. A man gets shoved to the floor and doesn't have the strength to get back up. Ivan waits, not from politeness, from calculation. When the frenzy collapses into gasps and coughing, he steps forward and collects what's left. He chews slowly, 10 seconds per bite. Slow chewing generates warmth. Fast chewing wastes it. He has learned this instinctively, the way wounded animals learn which direction predators come from. The guards call him Der Stein, the stone, a man who doesn't crack. But inside, something else exists. Not hope, not anger, something more durable. He has already accepted death, which is why death can't hurry him. Night after night, men die in the barrack like candles snuffed by wind. Breath stops, eyes glaze, bodies go stiff. But Ivan doesn't lie near the walls where frost forms thickest. He stays in the middle, where body heat lingers a second longer. Survival is not strength here, it's mathematics. By late February, something begins to shift. Not among prisoners, but among the gods. A corporal loses 2 fingers, another coughs blood into the snow. A third wakes screaming from nightmares he can't describe. Winter is not killing the weak. Winter is killing the afraid. And the guards, for the first time since the war began, are afraid. One night, the lieutenant stops outside the barrack. He looks through a crack in the wood and finds Ivan sitting upright, eyes open, watching him. "You," the lieutenant whispers. "You're not afraid of me." Ivan tilts his head. "You're not the cold." The lieutenant steps back. From that day, he avoids Ivan. Storms roll through March like giant breaths exhaled by the forest. Snow comes sideways. The wind screams across rooftops. The guard tower sways like a drunk man. The sentry fires into the dark, convinced he sees shadows moving. Another guard yells at him. They shove each other, slip, fall. The prisoners watch through cracks in the barrack walls. Ivan doesn't react to any of it. The cold has become a teacher, and Ivan the only one listening. In the barrack, prisoners begin breathing in rhythm, not planned, not organized, just instinctive. Ivan's slow, steady cadence becomes the heartbeat of the room. The guards hear it from outside and grow uneasy. A synchronized breath in a place meant to kill you is more terrifying than any weapon. April arrives, pretending to be spring. A day of thinner frost. A morning where light struggles through clouds. But the guards are worse than ever. A young one limps on a frostbitten foot. Another refuses to patrol at night. The lieutenant hides his shaking hands inside his pockets. Ivan observes them the way a hunter observes wounded prey. Not with cruelty, but with clarity. One prisoner asks him, "Why are they falling faster than us?" Ivan brushes frost from his sleeve. "The cold kills fear first," he says, "and they fear everything." A storm hits in May that tears roofs off barracks. Snow collapses the guard tower. The sentry's scream vanishes in the wind before his body hits the ground. Guards run, slipping, shouting, clawing at doors that won't open. The prisoners stay still. A strange thing happens then. Subtle, but real. The camp becomes afraid of itself. By June, more guards have died than prisoners. 18 remain alive. 9 can stand. The commandant flees with one truck. 2 guards desert into the forest. One shoots himself at dawn. The others unlock the gate, not out of pity, out of survival. The cold has broken them, one fear at a time. The prisoners step outside quietly, as if afraid the snow will notice. Ivan stands in the yard, staring at the empty towers, the broken spotlight, the coat left hanging on a nail. A prisoner asks him, "Are we free?" Ivan's eyes drift toward the forest. "No," he says, "but they're gone." He walks forward without turning back, footsteps sinking into snow that has begun to soften with summer melt. The woods swallow the sound of everything behind him. The broken gate, the empty posts, the barracks that looked like the ribs of a dead animal. Months later, Soviet officers interrogate him. "How did you survive Stalag 352? Ivan looks at the frost forming on the window. "I had nothing to lose," he says. And men with nothing to lose wait longer. They don't understand. Most people don't. But winter understands. Winter always does. In 1980, workers demolishing a ruined building near the camp's remains find a rusted metal box. Inside it, a sliver of Soviet uniform and a folded note marked IZ. It reads, "Fear dies before the body. If you kill fear first, the body waits." No one knows how many nights Ivan Zorin waited. No one knows how many guards he outlived. But every man who survived Stalag 352 says the same thing. He didn't escape the camp. The camp escaped him. If this story touches you in any way, leave a like, subscribe, or share your thoughts below, because every time you stay, a soul of war is kept from disappearing.